What's poppin', y'all? I'm not sure why nobody's talking about this lawsuit that Travis Scott is facing for taking the hook and some parts of telekinesis from this woman that was originally working with Ye. So if we rewind, we've gotten updates from this consistently, and we'll go to the most recent update, which is in January. So in January, they're facing a copyright lawsuit. Billboard posted this, and it says as follows. In a complaint filed Wednesday in Manhattan federal court, Victory Boyd, signed to Jay-Z's Roc Nation, says the stars, in this case Future and Travis Scott, copied lyrics and other elements from her 2019 song Like the Way It Sounds and used them in telekinesis, which spent 11 weeks in the Hot 100. Scott, SZA, Future, and all defendants intentionally and willfully copied plaintiff's original work, specifically plaintiff's lyrics, when they commercially released the infringing work. Boyd claims that she initially shared Like the Way with Kanye West, who then recorded it as a track called Ultrasounds. West, who is not named in the lawsuit, then allegedly shared the song with Travis Scott, who then shared it with SZA and Future. Scott gained access to the studio plaintiff left the original work in and began creating the infringing work. In May of 2023, Scott, SZA, and Future agreed to create the infringing work by copying plaintiff's original work. Notably, the lawsuit says the stars have essentially admitted to using her song. When telekinesis was first uploaded to streaming platforms, Boyd's lawyers say she was credited as a co-writer in the metadata. More recently, they say she's been offered an 8% songwriting credit to resolve the dispute. So they're basically admitting that she owned this, or they took this from her. But Boyd appears focused on the fact that she never granted permission for her song to be used in the first place, saying the track had been taken without her authorization, knowledge, or consent. She also named Audemars Piguet, the Swiss watchmaker. They had a collaboration with Travis Scott. I think this is more so in a move by her lawyer, who wants to get a bigger bag, because they did use the song that was taken from her, or elements were taken from her, in their promotion for their collaboration and advertising, and this is after she rejected the license. So this is understandable. So the reason why this story happens in the first place, and the first time we heard about this was over 2 years ago. So she said this on Instagram. Keep in mind, this is 2 years ago. For anyone wondering why my name is associated with this new Travis Scott and SZA song called Telekinesis, this is before the lawsuit. This was a song that I penned for Kanye. I wrote it as a gospel song. It was originally called Future Bounce. Later, it took on the name Future Sounds, and then Ultrasounds. It passed through so many different creative minds and has taken on so many different identities. You can still hear little pieces of Jesus in the version that was released today. These are the lyrics that I wrote. Most of it made the final record, and then she quotes the lyrics. Yes, sounds with the T. Then she goes back and forth. Someone would say, with that, you were either cold or hot. So because you're lukewarm and neither hot nor cold, I will spit you out of your mouth. And then he's saying a Bible verse. I don't think we should attempt to blend with the world, saying that with love. This was written for a gospel album. There's a war over the souls of these artists. The song changed because the artist performing the song changed. We got to pray for them to come into the light of Christ. And then they have this back and forth about kind of like her saying Travis Scott, there's a demonic situation at Travis Scott's concert. It's clear that she's most likely not really messing with Travis Scott's energy, maybe him as an individual, and she just didn't want her work presented in a way other than she initially intended for it to be used. A Ye fan account on Twitter tried to poke some holes, saying in his tweet, her claim doesn't make much sense, and this is to note that Ye is not mentioned in his suit. Boyd is claiming that she had a song called Like the Way that she shared with Ye, who turned it into Ultrasounds, who shared it with Travis. But through leaks, we know Ye did a freestyle session over 100 plus Boogs beats in November 2019. One of the beats was Future Sounds. Ye does the mumble flow, and then the writers he has demumble and write for him. That's what Victory did. Unless Ye gave her the song before Travis, it makes zero sense for her to claim it was her song. It was always Ye's song, so he could technically give it to anybody. But Travis and May agreeing with SZA Future to infringe her work and not pay her is scummy if true. Now, this is a lot of nitpicking. I don't think she says that she's the one that makes the song or the beat. She says she's the songwriter, and that's what they were giving her credit for. It wasn't production credit. And she goes on to tell about her entire experience in a long video on her Instagram after getting a ton of hate from Travis Scott fans, not so much Ye fans, because she's not suing Ye. She doesn't have an issue with Ye. She just has an issue with how her work is being taken from her, damn near without her permission. And then on the back end, they're trying to not give her hush money, but say like, hey, shut up. Like, let us use this. It's great. Just take your percentage cut. And it says the following in the caption. It's not about the money. It's about reclaiming God's property. Jesus is king. Also, welcome to all the Travis Scott fans harassing me on my posts. May you find something on this journey of trying to tear me down that profoundly impacts your life with the love of God. Jesus loves you so deeply, more than you can imagine. So she goes on to post this video, which I'll play for you guys now.
I'm suing some of the largest names in music, and here's the story of how come. In 2019, I moved to a cabin in the mountains of Cody, Wyoming on a whim to write music for Ye. I wrote probably 100 songs, and maybe 5 of them have seen the light of day. I gave my very best effort to every individual word, line, and cadence, sometimes spending hours crafting just one line. After a certain point of seeing my carefully crafted work be scrapped and truncated, I decided that I no longer am writing songs for Ye, but rather I'm writing songs for Jesus. I even climbed to the top of this rock and spent a day writing a song to the Lord. With all the same effort and meticulous attention to detail that I put towards creating work that would be pleasing to Ye, I decided to switch my focal point and apply the same effort towards creating works of art that would be pleasing to my Lord Jesus. And once I did that, suddenly I had assurance that my work was not in vain. And even if another soul never heard what I created, I knew that God did, and that He treasured each and every word that I wrote for Him. I wrote a couple versions of a song called Future Bounce. The intention was that this song describes a house party in heaven. When we all make it to heaven, we're going to be doing this dance called the Future Bounce. That was the original idea. Anyways, in November 2019, which was 1 month after finishing and releasing the hit album Jesus is King, of which I wrote lyrics for several of the songs, Ye wanted to immediately create more gospel music, and so I got back to work. I happened to film myself recording a snippet of this version of Future Bounce.
Do you like the way it sounds? Hear the bass playing so loud. Faith in Jesus, I'm sold out. Miracles wash away the doubts. Drumline drops, do you like the way it sounds? Heaven raining down, pouring all over the crowd. All my sins I renounce, 'cause I'm gonna see the future of the bounce. Hear the trumpets playing loud. Faith in Jesus, I'm sold out. Miracles wash away the doubts. He can show up unannounced. Do you like the way it sounds?
It was this later version, however, that I created that Travis Scott stole. I use the term stolen because this is how the dictionary defines the word. Suddenly, 4 years after creating it, I find a distorted version of my work in a song called Telekinesis. 3 times in this song, Travis Scott repeats the chorus that I wrote. Not once did anyone ask me or consider to inquire of my participation in this song. My answer would have been no. I wrote this song for God, and to the extent that Ye was working for God, I was working for Ye. Travis, on the other hand, never had this intent, which you can see when you read the lyrics to Telekinesis. I never would have consented to being associated and to help make a hit song that spreads this message. So they had to steal my work if they wanted to use it, because permission simply would not have been granted. Included in my lawsuit is also Swiss watch company Audemars Piguet, because while they did ask me for permission to use my work in their brand partnership with Travis Scott, I told them no. And in December of 2023, they published my work in collaboration with Travis Scott in a major commercial campaign anyway. A multi-million-dollar partnership. Again, let's go back to the definition of stealing. So now we have all these layers of violations against me from multi-billion-dollar institutions. I said it before and I'll say it again. The story of David and Goliath repeats itself.
I cannot play the clips or the snippets of the music. I will link her Instagram post, so you can go watch it there. She's documented everything. She's been honest about everything, and I don't see a problem with what she's doing. This is one of those instances where I think Ye just... And this is, number one, let's address how brutal it is being a songwriter and sometimes even producer. Because a lot of these songwriters, they're not getting paid until the back end, which can take years. And that's if their work is even used. So she said she wrote hundreds of songs. Now imagine writing hundreds of songs, all that labor, all that work, and then a couple of them even get used. And then for the songs that you didn't write, suddenly they're being used by someone in a way that they didn't even ask you for permission. They just put it out. And Travis Scott has a reputation of doing this. I don't know the validity of the claims, but I know that there have been at least between 3 to 5 different instances in Travis's career where he was accused of, and this is early on in his career, taking credit for other people's work, leveraging other people's relationships in ways that they didn't find tasteful, to say the least, saying other people's work was his, outright taking other people's work, so on and so forth, whether it's producers, and in this case it's a writer, but previously it was mostly producers. So this doesn't look good on Travis Scott at all, and I think is a grimy part of the music industry, because I don't think anybody intended for this to come out the way that it did. I think Travis just got the song from Ye. And Travis was like, yo, this is hard. Let me start working on this. So Travis starts working on it. Future and SZA have no idea what's going on. They either get sent it or they're in the studio or something. Someone gives them a reference track. They hop in the booth. They perform or they add whatever they add to the song. They're like, okay, song's over. Then Travis Scott submits it for it to get released. And then now the record label, I think he's with Epic, they've got to do all the work to make sure everything's in the clear. So either they drop it and they give her the credit, but then I don't think they anticipate that she doesn't want her work being used on this song. Because this is a very rare case. For instance, the majority of songwriters, if they're on a Travis Scott, Future, and SZA song, they're happy, even if they find out about it later. And then they're getting their songwriting credit, the 8%, 10%, whatever it is that she's supposed to get. They offer her that too. That's enough for her to just be like, okay, yeah, I'm good on this. But this individual, I guess she's very, very strong in her faith and feels that her words were being manipulated for an agenda that goes against her strongest beliefs, which I have a lot of respect for her for coming at it from this angle, because she could have just shut up and took some money. I don't know if a settlement will happen, but the thing is, what's the outcome? Is the outcome they are seeking damages, or is the outcome they are seeking to have the song taken down? What's the deal with that? How does that work out? Is it possible for someone to take the song down if they wrote the part that's being used on the song? And then this is the bad part. If that is the intended outcome, then she's going to get so much hate, it's unreal, because people mess with this song. It wouldn't have done as well as it did if they didn't. Now, it's not the biggest Travis Scott song ever, right? But nevertheless, it is a big song. I mean, that song's got almost 500 million streams from Utopia, and it's the only song with SZA. So SZA fans are going to be up in arms. Future fans, I don't think they'll care too much. Future's always feeding his fans. They've got plenty of other stuff to go to. Travis Scott, the fans are going to be upset. So I'm interested to see where this goes, what they're angling for. I do think 100% she deserves to be paid for this. There's no other way to cut it. And this just seems like regular music industry stuff. People passing songs around, reference tracks, unfinished stuff. And it seems like a Ye writing camp, album camp is brutal for the amount of people that show up and the amount of work that gets done and the final album cut and so many people's work being scrapped. Think about all their hopes having shown up there. Now, some of her songs did get used, but I'm talking about all the other people whose songs never saw the light of day. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. Like and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for watching. Peace.